Okay, so real quick, why do Afro-Latinos not identify with black? This is because we used to have a caste system in Latin America. You guys did not have that in the US. In this caste system, the idea was to eliminate blackness, to improve races by becoming closer and closer to whiteness. So this caste system is really big. These are all the different races that the Spaniards just kind of made up. And they meant improving your race. There's an expression here in Latin America called Mejorar la Raza, or improving your race. It's something that your tias or like your abuelas say when you introduce them to your partner and they're lighter than you. They're like, oh, you're improving the race, like you're improving our family by being with this white person.
You know, it's a shame that the Afro-Latinos don't want to be black. And this comes from the self-hatred. And that comes from them believing or thinking that if you have light skin and good hair, you will have a better life. It's the same thing like the Indians. That's how you remember how Indians are, because a lot of people don't know about them. Always remember that they are the very same as Latinos when it comes with racism. They think the same. They have the colorism. They think white is good and black is bad. So these Afro-Latinos, they are just like Indians. They want to be white because they feel like they're not getting nothing out of life if they have dark skin and kinky hair, because of the negative stereotype that comes with being black. And that's where the racism comes from. It starts with their parents, their mothers, their grandmothers, going all the way back to the slave plantation.
This is an actual thing from colonial times. Here's a painting about improving your race, seen as a blessing. And that's why Latin America would never had illegal interracial marriage, because it was normal in the Spanish kingdoms. It was considered a good thing. It was like, oh, you're improving the population. So someone like me, half black, half white, that would be called a mulatto. Then if I got with a white person, then my son will be called an albino or octavon, and so on and so forth until they became white. But, and check out, they had this race that was called a salto atrás, step back. If someone like me got with someone darker, then our son's race would be a salto atrás, a step back on the eternal path of becoming white. So we kind of lost a sense of identity, like identified as a race, like black people. And it became very much about skin color and how mixed you were. And if you were a little mixed, if you didn't just look African at first sight, then you were not black. That's how it worked back then. Now they're implementing something different, and it's that ever since around the 90s or 80s, they quit putting black in the census and mestizo, which meant mixed, because everyone was putting mixed and they didn't know who was actually black. And they started asking who was Afro-Latino, meaning that you had African in you from that time, even if you didn't look fully black, as it was taught to us that was what being black meant. And then they got actual numbers of the population. So that's what we get asked in the census. We get asked if we are Afro-descendants, not if we're black. And most people take that and they assume that it means that they're not really black, and that Afro-Latino is a different term and that it refers to something different. So again, it's a cultural thing. Yes, we do know Afro-Latino means black. The thing is, like in Latin America, it's really complicated and most people will not identify as black if they're a little mixed, which is the case for a lot of Afro-Latinos. Another thing that happens is that if you say that you're black and you don't look fully African as they expect, they correct you. And they tell you, you're not black, you're a triqueñita or a morenita. Anything but. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer.